Hey everybody, welcome to Always Bored, Never Boring. Just a very quick one from me today, because I wanted to show you the new mission pack for Fireteam Zero. This was a pack that was available in their most recent Kickstarter when they kickstarted for a second print run of Fireteam Zero, which is a really, really good game. I'm a big fan of Fireteam Zero. I've written very positive reviews about it and the expansions, which you can find on my blog, alwaysboredneverboring.com. Linky down here somewhere in the description if you would like to go and check those out. But yeah, Fireteam Zero, it's a fantastic game. I absolutely love it. I play it a lot, and I have all of the content for said game, except for when they did the second Kickstarter. They released 2 new packs of cards. They released this mission pack, and they released the Recon event pack. I've discussed the Recon event pack in a previous video. But yeah, so we're just going to take a quick look at this mission pack. This is a narrative mission. It's a 3-part mission, as you would get in the base game, where you go in, you play the first section. If you succeed that, you play a second section, and then there's a third section with escalating horrors as you go through. I'm not going to spoil the mission. I'm not going to show you what's going on with it. I'm not going to talk too much about that. I just want to discuss basically what's new about it. So yeah, don't worry that I'm gonna give away stuff going on with the storyline. I will not. There are some new twist cards. One of the missions involves adding some special twist cards for the monsters, which is nice. And the game, the mission introduces a new mechanism, which is the challenge mechanism. This is something which also appears in the Recon event pack challenges. It's a very simple new mechanism where sometimes an event will happen and you get an opportunity to resolve it in a positive or negative manner. Basically, when an event calls for a challenge, you will get a list of symbols here, and you get to roll 2 attack dice, and you have to try and match all of the symbols on there. If you don't manage to do it, you can discard up to 1 card from your hand which has a matching symbol, and that is treated as one of those symbols. So if I'd rolled two brawls and 2 bullets, I could then discard 1 card with a grenade symbol to count as a success for that grenade. Also, any of your allies, any of your friends that are within range 1 can also discard up to 1 card for a success as well. So if you're all together, there's a very, very good chance of you being able to pass the mission and pass the challenge. And that's a cool extra little thing. It's something that adds an extra wrinkle to the rules. Something else that you have to think about your card management, because you have to kind of think, okay, if we don't discard these extra cards, we're going to fail this challenge, and if you fail the challenge, there's always a negative effect. And if you succeed, there's a positive effect. But you have to think, is it going to be worth discarding all these cards? I mean, everyone's going to have to lose a card from their hand to get this success or whatever, and that's interesting decision points, and that's what I like from any expansion for any game, is new things to think about and new problems to get your head around. So that's interesting in itself. There's a new mechanism. The other thing is that this Operation Harbinger, it uses expansion content. It uses boards and monsters from other expansions, and some of the individual purchases, like some of the monsters, some of the boss monsters. But in case you don't have those miniatures, the designers have been lovely enough to include substitutions. So there's a bunch of cards here that tell you if you don't have a certain monster, it tells you who to replace, what to replace it with from the base game. So no matter what, even if you've only got the base game, you can buy this mission pack and you can use your base game monsters to do it. And again, there's a card that says if you don't have these board sets, then you can use these from the base game. And that's nice. It's a nice touch that it just makes it that this is a compatible mission regardless of how heavily invested you are in the game already. I mean, if like I've got everything for the game, so I can use all of the boards and monsters as indicated on the setup cards. But for people who've only got the base game and they just want an extra mission to play through without having to buy big box expansions, they can buy this card deck, and it gives them everything they need because it's got those substitution cards in there, and that's neat. It's a nice little thing that I thought was interesting and worth mentioning, really, because there's always that concern when something comes out for games like have I got, you know, am I able to use it without having other content? Other than that, it's pretty much a standard 3-part mission, like the base game missions. There's some cool new wrinkles. There's certain cards can actually have a persistent effect on your character, so something might happen to your character. Again, I'm not going to give it away, but things can happen to your character, and then that stays with your character until you complete the mission, until you complete all 3 stages of the mission. So if something happens to you in the 2nd stage, that's still in effect in the 3rd stage, which is cool. And there are in the search decks, there's some, obviously, some of those challenges in discovery jobs, and yeah. So it's pretty much more the same. It's searching spawn points, but there's those new challenges to deal with, and like I say, there are some persistent effects that can happen. Yeah. What else can I say? There's some gear. Some of the recon cards are gear cards, which when you find them, you keep the card, you put it in front of you, and you can discard it later for a benefit. And one of the missions involves there's a challenge to resolve, and the more you search, and the more you can find things that can benefit you in completing that challenge. So it's sort of like a scavenger hunt type thing, which is quite interesting. But it really is pretty much, you know, it's not breaking any molds. There's a few interesting wrinkles, a few new things to think about. Those challenges, and like I say, there's some gear cards that you know, persistent cards that you keep and discard for a one-off benefit, and there's some potentially some things that can happen to you that give you permanent stat changing effects that will stay in play. It's got an interesting story. But I mean, it's pretty much, if you played Fireteam Zero, you know the kind of stories. It's like something weird has happened here, there's some monsters involved, this group of badasses get dropped behind enemy lines to sort out what it is. They have to find out what the problem is, find out what monster they're fighting, and then they have to kick the monster in the face. So, you know, it's pretty much that you know, that standard type of thing, which is cool. It's what I like. And I guess that's all I've got to say about that. I mean, it's an interesting new mission. And like I say, you don't need to have any of the other expansions to play it. So if you're looking to expand your game without, you know, a massive investment in new miniatures, you can pick this up and just play it with the substitutions, and you'll get to experience the new challenge mechanism, and like I say, some interesting new twists where you can get sort of permanent effects on your characters. And if you like Fireteam Zero, you're gonna like this mission. And that really is all I have to say about this. Thank you for watching, everybody. Bye bye.